There's also an interesting YouTube video a while back of entering into a person's eye and going deeper and deeper towards the inner self, and it becoming more and more vast until the end we're traveling through space and stars ad infinitum, and then it comes back down again. That's like a Mobius veil as well, that idea that at a cellular level or an atomic level, we are vast solar systems, and that makes us gods. And watching hoarders, as I sometimes do in my switch off moments, I'm fascinated with people who gather junk and the fine line between junk and collections, and who says what's junk and who's a hoarder, and whether there are people like that are like squirrels, and is there a wrongness to any of it? No. we tend to gather information and gather information and gather information, and the more information we gather, the better we feel about ourselves, and then we have a stroke and or a heart attack. And talking to people who've gone through their experience, it's all their ideas or the glamour that they've created around their enlightenment turns to fear. It's immediate. The way we are manipulated is shocking by word and visuals. If you never turned on a television, you never turned on a computer, you never had a radio, nothing much would bother you except where your next meal was coming from. And you might have to get really clever that way and find out or triage the areas where the fish are, when the fish are running. We might need to know what the water looks like from high up to know when the bream are coming in. We might need to know when the caribou are on the run. We may be working with our herds. We might even need to know how to kill to eat. But we're being fluffed. Even at one stage in many decades gone, people involved in what was called the Skull and Bones Club, which is most presidents and their buddies, they were said to be in the Star Chamber or the Star Temple. And it's also really interesting that all of the ideas of ascendancy are considered better than. All these ideas of being higher than in difference to lower than. It's almost inbuilt into us, even to do that, this reaching for the sky, this sense of belonging within space and the universe. It's as if each choice hits the matrix and vibrates, just like a spider's web. The spider over here knows what this is. And patterns, it'll go on. I could talk about it forever, because even at one stage in the 1980s, an experiment was done with oysters where they were put underground in a concrete bunker 7 or 8 floors beneath the surface of the earth in a completely contained environment, and yet they opened and closed according to the cycles of the moon. They couldn't see it, they couldn't feel it. There was no knowing that pattern of opening and closing in connection with the cycles of the moon was in their pattern. In the pattern of the seed is the entirety of the forest and every possibility therein. Each of the cells of our body, according to science, each of the cells of our physiology has the capacity to be any other cell. So a knee cell can be an eye cell. It has all of that ability with it. So that where we're heading genetically is further towards who we are. Much more richly towards who I'm very excited about. I'm very excited. There's nothing daunting. And yet we're being distracted from the excitement of alternate intelligence by massacres and slaughter, and the denigration of one species or another, so that we're being pulled on a moral ground into a place that we wouldn't know about if these technologies hadn't been in some way harnessed to also trap us. So there's no reason that we're not herded as a species for nomnoms